Hello everyone, today I'm going to power scale Jujutsu Kaisen. I've decided to do this because I've seen so many people downplay the series excessively, simply because they don't want to admit their favorite verses could be soloed by JJK. The hate toward JJK is on another level. Okay, that's enough yapping for now. Let's dive into power scaling Jujutsu Kaisen. We'll start with speed, since speed is often the deciding factor in verse battles. Let's start with Hikari's speed. As you all know, Hikari was able to avoid getting hit in the head by Kashimo's lightning flash at point-blank range. However, since Kashimo's lightning strike is a guaranteed hit, similar to real-world physics, the charge will hit you no matter what. So, let's use this to determine how fast Hikari had to move. To clear up a common misconception, the lightning flash travels at the speed of light, but the discharge speed after the flash is slower than the speed of light. Therefore, for Hikari to dodge the lightning flash at point-blank range, and in order not to get hit by lightning like Homer Simpson, he would have to be at least 3 times the speed of light. Keep in mind that this is not his maximum speed. This is the minimum speed we know of. The next highest speed scale in Jujutsu Kaisen will be Kinjaku and Yuta. As you all know, Kinjaku was able to escape a black hole at point-blank range with the help of his anti-gravity technique. I'm not saying he escaped by running away, but rather through his cursed technique. This means his anti-gravity technique was at least a high FTL, faster than light, speed technique, since it allowed him to escape a black hole at close range. The most crucial point to determine how fast Kinjaku's technique is lies in the black hole's mass. We have to make an evidence-based assumption, not a random hypothesis. First, the black hole was the size of a basketball and immediately sank its surroundings. This is great evidence for us to estimate the least mass it had. As you can see, a black hole the size of a basketball would normally take 38 days to sink 2 kilometers of land, according to standard physics. However, this is fiction, and most importantly, it's Mommy Yuki we're talking about. She's exceptional. As Kinjaku himself stated, there's no limit to the mass she can apply to it. So even though the black hole was small in size, we have to increase its mass. I calculated how much mass it would need to sink 2 kilometers of land in 1 second, and the result was about 270,000 solar masses. Damn! I didn't even expect to see this result. I was about to calculate the escape velocity, but it doesn't matter because I know it would require a very high MFTL speed to escape it. So I... Damn, who doesn't love this guy for real? Okay. Let's get back to where we were, so I decided to increase the time to 10 seconds because I think I underestimated the time it took to sink the land. Even though I don't think it took that long, I lowballed it, and the result is still shocking. Yeah, 27,000 solar masses isn't a joke. It's not like Miwa's binding vow. But sorry, I can't lowball it beyond this. So, yeah, it's 16 times MFTL. Therefore, Kinjaku's anti-gravity technique is a low MFTL technique. You might ask, what does this have to do with the character's speed? I did all this because of the ambush that made Kinjaku shit a brick. As you know, Kinjaku's anti-gravity technique is low MFTL, and yet, while he activated it, both Yuta and Kinjaku were able to move. Not to forget, Todo's technique was also in play. For them to move, while the anti-gravity technique was active, they would have to be above 16 times MFTL. Since both Kinjaku and Yuta were able to move, this makes them MFTL. Though Kinjaku was faster than Yuta, because if it weren't for the goat Aoi Todo, my boy Yuta's sword would have been caught like Miwa's. Now let's talk about my boy Toji's speed. Toji's speed is on a completely different level from the others. Shout out to my boy No Luck, who provided the evidence I will present to you. Though No Luck made a mistake by saying, Toji is MFTL, massively faster than light. I think he used 1 minute as the time frame for the 6 eyes. Let's fix and upgrade No Luck's speed scale. In the manga, it's shown that the 6 eyes can perceive 3 years' worth of information. And not only that, but Gojo's brain can process that information and instantly. This isn't new, as the 6 eyes block anything instantly. Most people think it was 1 minute because of a specific panel, but if you read the next one, you'll find out that Kenjaku says it's 1 minute in Gojo's mind, not in real-world time. In reality, it's instantaneous. Kenjaku also mentions how long 1 minute is for Gojo. It's like an eternity for him. So Gojo's 6 eyes can perceive anything instantly or with the 0 time, meaning his perception speed is infinite speed. You might wonder what this has to do with Toji's speed. Well, I hate to break it to JJK haters, but it has everything to do with it. Here's why. Gojo's 6 eyes couldn't perceive or read Toji's speed, as shown in the manga, not just once, but twice. First, when Gojo tried to sense him by tracking the worm on his body, and second, when Gojo was shocked by his speed and couldn't read it. Do you know what that means? While the 6 eyes can perceive 3 years' worth of information instantly, it couldn't perceive or read Toji's speed. That means Toji is hyper-infinite speed. Shocking, right? Now you all understand why Toji outsped the cameraman and why his walk alone made him disappear. I know what haters and downgraders will say to try to debunk this, so let me make it clear before you start yapping. Some will argue that Gojo's 6 eyes couldn't read Toji because he doesn't have cursed energy. No, Gojo's 6 eyes don't require something to have cursed energy in order to perceive it. Literally, the 6 eyes can see its surroundings, like doors or anything, even with a blindfold, in 360 degrees all the time. Besides, you forget that Gojo tried to read Toji's movement by tracking the worm around him and still couldn't read him. So the 6 eyes can see everything. It even allows Gojo to see atoms, which is how he creates purple. Another excuse people will come up with is that Gojo was tired. So what? It doesn't matter if Gojo's body was tired because it's the 6 eyes doing the work here, and the 6 eyes can never be tired. Gojo can't turn off infinity. He can't control it. It works non-stop for many years, as long as he lives. So yeah, this point is invalid. The next excuse people will use is that Gojo was a teen at that time. Again, so what? It's the 6 eyes that make this evidence valid, not Gojo's body or whatever. The 6 eyes don't consume any cursed energy. It's not a technique that can grow stronger. It's an inherited power that operates on its own. So again, this argument is invalid because the 6 eyes are not Gojo. They're like a parasite leeching off Gojo, and they don't need any external power to function. The final excuse people mostly use is this. Maki was beaten by Naoya, who was Mach 3. I find this funny because this version of Maki was not equal to Toji or the fully realized Maki. The moment Maki started awakening like Toji, she was beating Naoya easily, even mid-air. He was even shocked. What? After that, the manga stated she became equal to Toji. So again, invalid argument. At this point, I feel bad for you people. So guys, I don't think I need to explain Sukuna's and Gojo's speed because they're faster than anyone I've mentioned here. I'd say they have meta speed, but let me show you another infinite speed feat from Sukuna versus Gojo. If you remember their battle, Sukuna was able to use piercing blood. As you know, Sukuna elevates any cursed technique he copies or possesses to a different level. For example, he turned Nue from horse-sized to King Kong-sized, and so on. This is because of his enormous cursed energy level and his vast knowledge. I was about to hypothesize how fast his piercing blood would be, because if Choso's piercing blood was able to surpass Noritoshi's, and become faster than the speed of sound, then imagine how fast Sukuna's would be. This dude is by far much stronger than Choso. Even at 1 horsepower, Sukuna was able to wipe out almost all of them. So I was about to assume that Sukuna's piercing blood is at least 1,000,000 times faster and was about to do my calculations when suddenly the wisdom of Einstein struck me, and I found solid evidence of its speed thanks to red. Though I was researching this not to determine its speed, but rather to understand how durable Gojo was, since he blocked it with his hand. If you don't know, a water jet can cut diamond if its pressure is 60,000 psi. But that's another topic since we're talking about speed now. I'll cover durability in another part. As I was saying, I found the speed of Sukuna's piercing blood because of red. You might ask, what does red have to do with this? Here's why. As you all know, red is a repulsive power. Not just repulsive, but infinite repulsive power. Most people I debate get confused when I mention it's infinite. I think they've never read JJK well enough, or it's just because I
am Kira.
There was no other way. The world had to be fixed. A purpose given to me.
Only I could do it.
Who else could have done it? And come this far. Would they have kept going?
Well, Light, it looks like you've lost. Remember how, in the beginning, when we first met, I told you that I'd be the one writing your name in my notebook. So it's all over.
Okay, let's get back to our topic. If you don't know, red and blue are infinite, and this has been mentioned in the manga, not just in words, but in the panels. It's clear that red has infinite power since it was able to create a void. You can only create a void if you have infinite repulsive power. Though this is fiction, which is why it breaks physics laws so easily. Creating infinite repulsive and attractive power would require energy beyond the universe. And our glorious blue-eyed king did it like it was nothing. I'll explain how strong it is when I do the durability scale, but for now, let's just understand that red is infinite repulsive power. So Sukuna's piercing blood was going to disrupt red. Do you know what this means? I'll give you time to think or to use Google, though I don't believe you can find this kind of thing on Google since it breaks physics laws. I recommend using ChatGPT or another AI engine that can answer like a real scientist would. If you have more knowledge about science, you'll understand what I'm about to say. Pause and take your time. So yeah, in order to disrupt an infinite repulsive power, you need the same amount of power, which means it has to be infinite speed and above. You might say it didn't hit red, so how do we know it's infinite? Here's why I think it would disrupt red. First, Sukuna was confident it would disrupt it, and second, not only Sukuna, but Gojo also knew it would disrupt it, which is why he chanted blue to consume it. This confirms that it's infinite speed because if it weren't, Gojo wouldn't need to do that. Red would have pushed it away if it weren't infinite. As you can see, Gojo was able to react to Sukuna's piercing blood and block it, and he was also able to save Red in time. So yeah, Gojo is definitely meta speed at least, and so is Sukuna since they fought each other. Some people will say Gojo isn't fast because it took him 5 minutes to save 1,000 of Mahito's victims. Well, people who use that excuse have definitely not read JJK well enough. If you did, you'd know why he didn't go all out. Let the anime explain it. Gojo can't go all out, he can't go faster, he can't use red and blue, and he only focuses on defense. Besides, running faster would kill the humans with his speed. So yeah, he didn't go all out, and that speed doesn't even make him bullet speed. You people are saying Gojo isn't faster than bullet speed when base Maki can catch bullets at point-blank range? I believe that's Gojo's normal speed without applying any cursed energy. So I believe you've got your answer. There are other speed feats too, like how 1 horsepower Sukuna dodged electromagnetic waves at point-blank range, or how Maki and Takaba escaped Nue's lightning. But these are useless when we've already established infinite speed. And beside a character doesn't always show their highest speed, almost all anime has that inconsistency. You might say that the power growth in Jujutsu Kaisen is incredibly fast, like how Gojo and Yuji grew to a different level almost instantly. Well, the anime itself mentions that their growth is accelerated at an extraordinary rate. It might seem unrealistic to most of you, but one thing I want to point out is that manga writers don't obsess over power scaling as much as fans do. Gege, the creator of JJK, hasn't addressed the speed inconsistencies when asked about them. He likely knows about these issues but doesn't care to fix them. This isn't unique to JJK. Almost every anime has similar problems. To the JJK downgraders out there, JJK can easily overpower 97% of other anime verses, including your favorite series that you constantly hype up. If you think you can debunk this scaling, I'm open to a respectful debate, but not to pointless arguments. And to my fellow JJK fans, if you want explanations about durability scaling or anything else related to JJK, comment below with what you'd like me to cover next.
Until we meet again!